Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today these new Daniel Sandler watercolour blushes have arrived and so I can't wait to try them today. Now he's brought out 6 new shades and I will post the details of them in between here right now. Okay, so I decided to get 2 of them and I'm also waiting on some samples. Hopefully when they're ready, I will get you the other 4 to show you. But for today, I am showing you Tease, which is a blush, and Elegance, which is a new highlighter. I'm so excited. So I have swatches and I'm also going to do up my face. Let's get going, shall we? Now, first of all, I'm going to show you this highlighter. Now, the reason I'm really excited about the highlighter, not Tease, I want Elegance. Elegance is the highlighter. The reason I'm really excited about this is because Daniel up to now has done one highlighter called Icing, which is lovely, but it's quite a cool highlighter. And I asked him once whether he had a warm highlighter, and he's now brought this one out, and it is beautiful. Really, I can't wait to try it on my face. I've been swatching it for the Ali Pallies this morning on my Hangout. If you're not a member of the Hangout yet, have a look below and I will post a link to the Hangout in the description bar, plus details of everything I've used today. But this is, look at that, look at that. So this one is called Elegance and I cannot wait to try it. And as you blend it out. Now, Daniel has said that this has been a kind of new improved formula. Now, what I've noticed about it, just sort of first impressions, and obviously I haven't applied this yet to my face, is it seems to have a bit more of a uniform colour to it. And you don't have to shake it as much. Whereas before you really had to give it a really good shake, which I still think is a good idea. It just seems to have a more of a uniform, more pigment, and easier to kind of blend formula. So I love that, and I think that's going to look even nicer on my face, which, as you can see, is darker than my hand. And that's why, ladies, never test foundations on your hand. If you do test them on your hands, be aware that your hands are different shades. You've got to keep your face in mind. Your hand is always a different shade, be it lighter, darker. It's never going to be the same. So can't wait to try that on my skin. And then I have got Tease, which is a blush, and I went for 2 of the shimmery ones. So he's got a mixture really in his new shades, as you've just seen, of matte ones and shimmery ones. And I went both for the shimmery ones. So this is a raspberry shimmery shade, and that is what it looks like there. Just showing it you in dot form first, and then I'll spread that and show it you here. Now I just can't wait to get both of these on my face. So I'm going to leave you with the swatches, and then I'm going to do a little makeover. Okay, now what I want to say is I have done a bit of skincare. My eyes have been very watery the last couple of days, so I've just put some eye drops in my eyes to try and calm them down. The Xalin eye drops. My GP's given me Xalin eye ointment for the night, but I also got some single-use drops to put on about half an hour before I apply makeup, because it just seems, although I don't seem to be allergic to specific products, as soon as I start at the moment just putting moisturiser on or anything, it doesn't matter what, it just seems to stimulate my eyes to water. So that's gone in, and it's washed a little bit of my moisturiser off. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit more of a dot of magic cream underneath my cheeks where it tends to get dry here. And I'm going to put a little bit of sunscreen on. Now, I did everything in the wrong order because I'm still not feeling well. And I went in with Studio 10 glowplexion. Then I realised I hadn't put my moisturiser on and I haven't put my sunscreen on. So it's going to kind of be a layered, very glowy look today. So I'm just going to put my sunscreen on and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and I've just put on this Dr. Sam's Daily Sunscreen. Now, one thing I will say, a little update about this, is when I first got this, I thought 3 pumps was about what I was putting on. And they say they're measured pumps. But as I'm starting to use the sunscreen, like after the 2nd or 3rd use, the pumps to me seem to be a lot bigger amount than they were when I initially used it. Now, I know they say that it's a measured pump, but I'm starting to wonder how measured they are, because I definitely applied more today than I did in the first day when I got it. The pump amount was not as much as it was today. So I'm just giving you a little bit of an update on that. I'm not so sure. I still think you have to, if it's not measured, then you have to kind of use your discretion, because that seemed a lot more than when I first got it and used 3 pumps. So I'm not sure about the measuring. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm not sure. Okay, so next I want to have a really glowy look today, and I thought, as I'm using Daniel Sandler's blush, let's use his foundation. Now, you know I don't use this a lot because I like a fuller coverage foundation. But I had a little thought, and I thought, why don't I use Charlotte's Flawless Filter underneath? Because that will give me a bit of extra coverage, because this is beautiful and this will give me a really glowing look, especially with Flawless Filter. Now, I'm going to go back in with a bit of my, this is going to be very glowy, and I might have to powder down if anything, but I'm going to use a bit more of my Studio 10 glowplexion, and I'm just going to use it around my cheek area because I have looked very flat. I might look okay now with all the skincare, but trust me, I've been looking very flat and dull. And so I just want to get a bit of glowiness, glassiness back into my skin. And I also might use a little bit of colour corrector under my eyes before I go in with the concealer that comes with this foundation. So let's go in next with the Flawless Filter. Okay, so I'm going to use some Becca Under Eye Concealer in medium to deep, and you'll see that this works beautifully on dark circles and pigmentation. I'm just going to put some on that cheek area where I've got pigmentation. See how it cancels out that muddiness? Watch. Brown spot.
Boom.
No brown spot.
Boom. Voila, it disappeared. My magic trick is I'm going to make this brown spot disappear with makeup. Voila.
Now, my eyes are a little bit puffy today, so I'm going to put some sort of concealer. I'm going to make sure I put some concealer on my lids. But next, I'm going to go in with Daniel's foundation. Okay, so here's Daniel's foundation, and I'm using this in shade Honey. And this was sent to me for free from Daniel. Thank you, Daniel, a while back now. And I do love it, but I don't tend to reach for it a lot because of the coverage. But I thought today I'm going to layer up. Now, this does actually, you can build this. It's very, very buildable. So you can kind of, I'm probably going in too much because I want more coverage, which is wrong. You should layer it up. So I really shouldn't be as heavy-handed. Sorry, Daniel, if you ever watch this. But I'm going to blend it in and buff it in really well with Charlotte's Hollywood brush. And I gave this such a thorough clean and a lot of my brushes last night. Don't you love that when you've had a thorough clean day of your brushes? They just feel lovely. I kind of spot clean them after each tutorial, but nothing beats a thorough clean. So I'm really buffing this in so we get it to look like skin. And then you can go back in and layer any bits that you feel need a bit of extra work. So for me, it's around this area. I'm just going to put a second layer around the cheek area. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to pat it in with my fingers a little bit more. That will give me a bit more coverage, but without it looking, if I'm blending it with my fingers, it's going to look more like skin, because I don't want this to look cakey. It's very difficult actually to get this to look cakey because it's such a lovely formula and such a natural skin formula that it's quite hard to make this look cakey. This will just cover those areas a bit more, but without it looking too plastered on, I should say, rather than cakey. Okay, and now I'm going to go in with this concealer. Now, you guys were asking about brushes, and I said that this is my favourite smudge brush. So I dug it out for you guys, and I gave it a good clean, and I'm going to have that to hand over the next couple of weeks, so you will see Daniel's smudger brush. I also have his concealer brush, and I love this brush. And again, just because I haven't been using it recently, it's because it was buried. So this is going to be used a lot this week too. And what he has is at the top of here is the concealer, which is the same colour. It's not lighter for under your eyes. It's the same matching colour as the foundation. And I'm going to use his concealer brush, and I'm going to take that now under my eyes. And I'm just going to try and target as much as possible where the shadows are. Now, I use this to apply it, but then I will go back in and smooth it out with my fingers. Now today I'm just doing what Bobby Brown always says, is to get right up to the edge of the eyes, and I'm hoping it doesn't set my eyes off watering again. See? And my sister, this is her favourite concealer of all time. She's on her second or third, I think. She tried mine and then said she's not a real foundation person, so she said to me, does he do the concealer separately? And that's it, she's off. That's the one that she uses. So my sister tends to like a product and then use it, as I used to do, until it's used up. She likes Unisex Healthy Glow as well. So she uses Unisex Healthy Glow and she uses this concealer every day. So I'm just putting that on with the brush and then just patting it so that it looks like my skin. And then you see where I've got that dark bit there? My eyes are very puffy today. Just going to go over that bit. And this concealer brush is so good because it gets into all these little nooks and crannies. And I'm going to put a little bit on my eyes because they look a bit red and swollen. So just to kind of neutralise the eye area a little bit. And again, just, I don't want any of this to look caked on. And then, see how I'm just building it up so that it covers that thread vein. I've got them matching on each side now. I used to have one, and then last year I created another one to match from getting one of those pore cleaning masks for your nose, which was way too strong for me. And instead of wetting it and pulling it off, it was really adhering to my skin. I should have just wet it, and I didn't. Pulled it off and it caused another thread vein. So be careful when you're using those. You can get them removed, but you have to get them injected, which I may do at some point. Okay, so I'm looking very glowy now, possibly a little bit too glowy and a bit too oily, but that's fine because we can deal with that with powder in a minute. But before I do that, I want to next move on to the watercolour blushes. But I might do, should I do the watercolour blushes first? No, I'm going to do my eyes and I'll be right back and I'll tell you what I used. And then we'll get on to the watercolour blushes. Now, I haven't blended my eyeshadow in yet, and that's quite deliberate, because I just wanted to show you today I'm going to go for something quite plain on my eyes because my eyes are extremely puffy. And if I go for shimmer on my lids today, it's just going to accentuate the puffiness. If you can see, they're quite swollen around here. So I used a couple of Daniel's palettes, and I used this one in the corner, right, just to build up, to take away that look of the hood, which my eyes are even more hooded than normal at the moment. And then I built it up using a little bit of that black. And then I went in. So that palette is called Scandal at Midnight. And then I used his Beyond Sunset palette to just use some of that taupey shade on the middle. Now, I may go in and put a little bit of gold in the middle once I've finished. But I just wanted to show you that I want to keep it quite simple. And when I come back, you'll see it all blended in. All right, but I just wanted you to see what I've done so that you can see how I did it. Okay, I'm back. So as you can see, I've blended it in. Just gonna make sure it's all blended with my fingers, and I've put some white eyeliner on, and I've used Daniel's green eyeliner underneath and also in my upper waterline. And I've got other plans. If I'm going to use a highlight there and under my brow, I have other plans. Now you may be sitting there thinking, why haven't you put any powder on yet, Ali? And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that I have been very dry and flat, and you will see that when I added all of that, I look quite oily. But hopefully you'll notice, I can certainly feel that my skin has drunk it in because it needed the moisture, and I wanted to give it time to drink in before I added powder. But also I want to add the watercolour blushes on before I add powder. Now you could, if you want, make sure that you tap under your eyes like this and set under your eyes if you want to, but I'm just going to do it all at the same time. Okay, and then once I've applied the shadow, if I want to put a little bit more concealer on or my eyes start watering, I can do it all at the same time. So let's try these blushes, shall we? So first of all, I'm going to go in with Tease, which is the blush. Now I do have a water brush by Daniel Sandler, and I'm going to show it you. But I tend not to use it because I like using my hands. But I will show you his water brush. 1 second. So this is Daniel's water brush, and that is basically a brush that you can use that will put on, what's that, my eyeliner or something, that you can put on the blush with. It's very good, but I prefer using my fingers. Okay, so I'm going to put this on my hand in Tease, and there it is. And I'm going to put some on my cheeks. Actually, that looks very similar to my scooter as well. So for some reason I found, do you remember that day that I did that with the back of my thumb? It really blends it in well. And I'm just going to build it up, because blush never has one pigment. It always, as you know, sort of looks a mixture of different colours, and it has a kind of epicenter here. So it's quite nice to build it up. I like that. It looks very healthy. I can't help it. Want a bit more. Want a bit more, and a bit more, and a bit more. And also I'm going to put a little bit of powder over this. So I want to make sure that I don't cover it all up. So again, just applying this with the back of my hand, which is my little method. And slowly building it up rather than putting it in one blob. It's quite a strong colour. So it's better to apply a little time and build it up. Than put a great big dollop on. Actually, this in colour reminds me quite a bit of the rose gold Lana lips. I wonder if you, yeah, but perhaps a bit pinker. So this is what it looks like on the lips. Just as a bit of a stain. Okay, and now I'm going to try out the highlighter. Oh, can't wait. So that's the blush. Very pretty. In fact, I just want to put a tiny bit just to balance out my face. Just the merest hint. There. And there. And there. Just to balance out. Can you see how that just makes a difference? Maybe not, but I can. And then I'm going to use Elegance. I can't wait to try this one. I've been waiting for a warmer highlighter. Thank you, Daniel. I love icing, but I wanted a warmer one. And now you've done it. I love it. It just looks, on my skin tone, it looks so pretty. It looks so natural and yet glowing. And you know I've got to have more. Okay, now what I wanted to do to finish off was to put a little bit of this in the centre of my eyelid. Oh yes. Oh yes. Now I'm just going to avoid the outer corner of my mobile lid because of the puffiness. Look at that. Look at the difference between those two eyes now. And if I'm just going to do this one. I'll put a bit of that in here as well. Let's just do this eye for a minute. And I'm going to put a little bit under here. Just a tiny bit. I'm just avoiding the outer corner because of my puffiness around the hooded area, okay? And I'm patting this on very gently with my finger. Can you see the difference that makes to that eye and that eye? It just opens up the eye. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. Look at that. Just blend it in a bit at the top. That's it. Love it. I love it. Right, let's do the other eye. I need a little bit more. It certainly, when you put it on your lips and your eyes, feels a lot more stable. You know, sometimes with watery kind of pigment, with some of the others, they look lovely, but they kind of, you had to set them really quickly in case they started to gather. This doesn't feel like it's going to do that. A little bit in here. I'll just wait for it to dry a minute and go a bit tacky before I blend out the top. And a bit here. I love them both together, actually. Look at that. That is so pretty. And with the blush, the two together just look stunning. Now, I'm just going to get some powder, but I'm not going to go mad with the powder. Okay, I'll be right back. So before I powder, I'm just going to press that in to make sure it's not settled anywhere. And it hasn't really, but I just want to make sure. And I'm just going to add a tiny little bit more, just to these areas here. I know I'm covering up the highlighter I put in the corner, aren't I? But never mind. And on that. Yeah, I can clean up this side. This is where Daniel's concealer brush comes in very handy for cleaning up the side. to make sure that my eyes are nice and lifted. See that, and then draw a line up to the end of my brow, or I should say where it should end. That should come a bit further down. Can you see? Hang on. Should come to about there actually. Right, that's a concealer. Got a bit more here. When my nose gets oily, that bit comes off very quickly. And then we'll go in. I'm going to use Charlotte's Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. And I'm just going to put it a light dusting, concentrating mostly on the centre of my face and under my eyes. I'm going to get Real Technique setting brush for under my eyes. It's softer. Charlotte's one you can use, but it gets a bit prickly for under the eyes. I think because it's a natural bristle, it just feels a bit prickly. Actually, I might continue with this one because I want to get in around my nose. No nose highlights here. Now, just to show you how you can cover this with Charlotte's powder. Obviously, I'm not going to cover it a lot. It just sets it beautifully in place. Just a little dusting. You don't have to put a lot on. But I do want to get, just pressing that in a bit more on that centre band. That's better. Now, I was going to use Pucker by Daniel Sandler, which would look nice with this look. But it's the blush has reminded me of something else. And I thought that might kind of bring my face alive. So I'm just going to show you what I'm going to use on my lips. Okay, because this is a kind of raspberry colour, it made me think raspberries. And what is French for raspberry? That's right, Framboise Moi by MAC. So raspberry me, I suppose that means. So I'm going to use a MAC lip liner called Talking Point. You see, I've already got some of that pigment still there, which I will leave from the new watercolour blush in Tease. And then I'm going to use Framboise Moi and drop the lid on the floor. And then I thought I'd finish off by using this in Tease over the top of the lipstick to give it a nice shimmer. And it goes beautifully with it. Totally transforms that lipstick. So there you have it. Daniel's 2 new watercolour blushes in Tease and Elegance. And as soon as I can get my hands on the others, you can buy all the 6 at the moment, but I just didn't want to get all 6 full sizes. So I'm just waiting for the samples, and I will come and show you the rest. But there they are, available on Daniel Sandler's website now. £16.50 each. Take care, and I'll see you all soon, and I hope you've enjoyed today's look. Bye.